Time now for a look at what's making the headlines in papers around the world, for which I'm joined by Florence Videmino. Hi to you, Flo. Starting off with Syria, a lot of reaction to an intense day of diplomacy yesterday.
Absolutely, and I'm going to start off with a cartoon which might seem a little odd given the seriousness of the situation, but I think it sums up how a lot of the international press is reacting to the situation there, the urgency, the tragedy. It's a cartoon from China Daily, the Chinese newspaper, where you see a UN special envoy to Syria, Kofi Annan, desperately trying to reanimate a dove, so the symbol of peace, that's looking pretty bad off. Now, the press has been talking out against the situation in Syria for some months now, but it seems like since the Hula massacre, there's been a step up in the harshness of the words. Now, a lot of people are wondering whether this is a turning point. The Wall Street Journal Asia, for instance, has its editorial where it calls the situation there Syria's Srebrenica. It's very critical of the UN Security Council, which it says has provided a diplomatic cover-up that's let Assad's government continue its killing. It's also been very critical of Kofi Annan, which it calls a, quote, peace envoy, so not really even a real peace envoy. All he's done is allowed Assad to buy time. It says that the UN is just as complicit in the Hula murders as it was back in 1995 when Dutch peacekeepers stood by as Serbs massacred thousands of Bosnians in Srebrenica. Now, perhaps unsurprisingly, the conservative paper is also very critical of Barack Obama, which it says is following from behind and is eager to get through the Syria crisis without getting U.S. troops on the ground. Now, there's another critical article, this time in the Arab press. We're going to look at an article in Asharq al-Awsat, which is a pan-Arab newspaper based in London, which says that even Hezbollah and Israel agree. Both Hezbollah and Israeli Prime Minister condemned the massacre in Hula. And according to the article, if they can get on the same page, if they can unite in condemning this massacre, what is the rest of the world waiting for? Why are they standing by? And they say, the article wonders, when will the world say enough is enough with regard to al-Assad's crimes, which it says are worse than al-Qaeda's crimes? And when will the world realize that it's time to intervene militarily in Syria?
Okay, let's move on now to a debut. I shouldn't say debut, but the first trip abroad for a long time for Aung San Suu Kyi.
That's right. It's getting a lot of attention in the international press. We're going to start by looking at the Wall Street Journal Asia. It's on the front cover there. Suu Kyi began her first foreign trip in 24 years, and according to the Wall Street Journal, this trip is the latest indication of how much Burma has changed. Now, we're also going to take a look at the Thai press, The Nation, daily there, which points out that the opposition leader has a very busy schedule. She's going to be attending the World Economic Forum on East Asia. She's going to meet with foreign dignitaries. Also, this plan to visit a Burmese refugee camp. Now, she has a very busy schedule during her 4-day trip, and there's a cartoon in The Nation which suggests perhaps a way that she can do all this. It's to have one PR Aung San Suu Kyi and one activist Aung San Suu Kyi. So if you take a look at that cartoon, there's a cartoon of her where she says, "For the opportunists waiting to take pictures with me, here's a wax figure of me. And then if you don't mind, I'm going to go visit a refugee camp." There's also an interesting opinion piece in The Nation that explores the future of the opposition movement in Burma and wonders if it's time for Aung San Suu Kyi to step aside, because currently she's getting all the media attention, all the attention from politicians. But this article wonders if it's the right thing for the future of the country, because it points out, have you, for instance, ever heard of anybody else from the National League of Democracy or anybody else in the Burmese government for that matter? And it says that she's important right now, but perhaps she's not the only one who's going to carry the weight of the democratic transition in Burma. And this article applauds what happened in South Africa with Nelson Mandela, who, according to this article, one of his greatest achievements was to know when the time was right for him to step aside and let other people help him move along in the democratic transition.
Okay, moving on, and Robert Mugabe has found his vocation as a UN tourism ambassador.
It's quite ironic, given that the Zimbabwean president is under a travel ban to both the EU and the US. Now, he's been honored as a leader for tourism by the UN's World Tourism Organization. Now he joins the ranks of Drew Barrymore and David Beckham. In the past, the UN's choice of ambassadors has been known to raise eyebrows, but this time it sparked anger from opposition and human rights activists who've attacked this decision to honor Mugabe, who's widely accused of ethnic cleansing, rigging elections, terrorizing opposition, and presiding over a collapsed economy. So a lot of people are wondering, why is he being honored in this way?
Florence Fleming, thanks very much for that roundup of the world's papers.